more than 50 years ago, Title IX was enacted to level the playing field for female athletes across the country. It's been one of the most successful pieces of legislation ever to come out of Congress. Since the law went into effect, participation in female sports has increased by more than 600%. This increase also opened the door to educational opportunities for generations of young women. Since 1972, the number of female college graduates in the United States increased dramatically from 8 to 40%. Sadly, President Joe Biden's U.S. Department of Education is taking a wrecking ball to Title IX. This administration is opting for a new agenda that puts female athletes on the losing side. Last year, on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, the Department of Education proposed a new rule to enforce institutions to allow biological males to compete in women's sports. They claim the change made sports more inclusive. I submitted a public comment opposing the proposed rule change, along with a record number of concerned Americans. In my comments, I discussed seeing the positive impacts of Title IX firsthand while coaching girls basketball just 4 years after its enactment. But like many other athletes, coaches, educators, and parents, my concerns were ignored by the Education Secretary as the department charged ahead with plans to finalize the change this coming May. It's expected the rule will go into effect for the 2023-2024 school year. That means many coaches will have to begin opening their girls' and women's teams, fields, and locker rooms to biological males. The very law that was created to bring about fairness and protection for women's sports is being used to force them to the sidelines. We must protect girls' and women's sports and the opportunities they provide. That is why today I'm reintroducing the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. The legislation pushes back against the far left's attempt to destroy Title IX and protects the female athletes of all ages from inappropriate, unfair, and dangerous competition. My bill requires institutions to separate athletics based on biological sex and stops federal funding from going to any program or institution that allows males in women's sports or vice versa. Our leaders, especially our representatives in Congress, do not have the right to say they support women if they stand by and do nothing as their opportunities are stripped away. Millions of current and future female athletes are looking to us, and we must keep a successful, fair game plan in place. I urge my colleagues in both parties to stand up for the female athletes of all ages and pass the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act as soon as possible.